Snakes. My name is Dante, and today it's Podcast Tuesday once again. Now, we had the tournament, the first ever tournament centered. I mean, the big, after Legacy stopped hosting events, now it's tournament centered. And we had the first one in Lille. Sadly, I didn't qualify for that one, and neither did my dad. So, I was not able to go there. So, but we still had others, from the same local game store, of course. I went there and even had one that made it to day two. So congrats Ozan for making it to day two. Anyways, let's talk about the deck that made it to first place. I don't remember I don't know which deck actually won. I'm not entirely sure, but at least I saw this on first place. So I was like, maybe it's the winning deck, maybe it's just after Swiss. I don't know. And it's Golgari. Golgari food. It's quite the interesting deck because Golgari food it is just a different version of the Junt Food deck that doesn't use red, it doesn't use Corvold, and it's more focused on Golgari. It's more focused on the green black part, of creating food and other stuff. I mean, so yeah, let's just dive right in. Since this deck has its own infinite combo, I'll be skipping this week's uh, uh this week's infinite combo, and I will just I'll just and a non-vote too, because this deck already has its own. It already has its own infinite. Uh, it already has its own infinite combo. So there's no need for for this. So let's just go straight into the companion. Now, this is technically a sideboard card, but now this is technically a sideboard card, but still, since it's a companion, this always goes first. We're gonna talk about the companion that will work with the deck. This is Gigantha, the Wellspring. And, this deck does not have anything that's more than, you know, it doesn't have the same symbol on any card at all. It's just, so, so you got Gigantha, that's a 5 mana, 5/5 elemental elk. I mean, it's just, that Lurrus or, uh, something, or Yorion. It's like this extra card. You don't re it doesn't the game plan does not revolve on the it doesn't revolve around this. It just revolves around like foods and stuff. That's how it's an entirely different game plan. It doesn't need like you don't need Gigantha to win. It's just a free card. It's just a free slot, kind of like Kahira and other stuff. So that's our companion. Let's go. We'll be right back with the main deck. Alright, so this is the main deck. The main deck is gonna have, like, we're gonna talk about everything, like in order. So we got Planeswalkers, like one copy of Vraska, Golgari Queen, a 4 mana 4/4 legendary Planeswalker Vraska, +2. They sacrifice another permanent to gain a life and draw a card. -3, Abrupt Decay. -9, you get an emblem that gives your creatures player death touch. As in, if they hit a player with combat damage, they die. So yeah, player combat death touch. It's not like if it hits, like ping, for example, but it still deals like, but still, if it lands a hit, like you have unblockable creatures, then that would be fatal. The issue is, you don't usually make it to the -9. Like Vraska's only good, in the sense of being able to sacrifice permanents for card advantage. which is what you would do in this deck. I mean, you only have one copy of her, just because you don't uh because she's legendary. I mean, well, all planeswalkers are legendary. It's just and for now, I mean, the only like non-legendary planeswalker is just a playtest card called uh Spark Decoy or something like that, and it's just a duck. But anyways, -3 is just a removal. So just by default, if she resolves, she's basically an abrupt decay for 4 mana. But if you don't like deal with Vraska quickly, like she can just become like an insane threat. So yeah, that's basically our number. That's basically our Planeswalker. One copy of Vraska. 4 mana, 4/4 legendary Planeswalker, 4 loyalty. Vraska. Let's go to our infinite combo. And it is. So you got 4 copies of each of these Yigra and Cauldron Familiar. This combo works with 2 Cauldron Familiars and Yigra. One in the graveyard and one on the battlefield. One Cauldron Familiar in the graveyard, one Cauldron Familiar in the battlefield. With Yigra as well on the battlefield. Yigra turns everything into foods. 5 mana, 6/6 legendary elemental cat. With ward, sacrifice a food. And every other creature is a food that gains, the ability to be eaten. And whenever a food dies, put 2+1 on counter on Yigra. And Cauldron Familiar drains everyone for 1 ETBs, and you can sacrifice a food to bring it back. And if you have another Cauldron Familiar on the battlefield, one in the graveyard, you can just sacrifice the Cauldron Familiar to bring back Cauldron Familiar, and then just do this infinitely to grow Yigra infinitely and drain your opponent infinitely. So yeah, plus this bypasses Leyline of Sanctity. So because it hits each opponent. So yeah, Leyline of Sanctity is not gonna save you here. It's Leyline of the Void that's gonna be the useful one. But still, Yigra actually is very strong on its own. I mean, even if you don't have like a combo, just you start creating lots of foods and eventually start sacrificing them. Also, it's hard to kill Yigra because to kill Yigra you need to sacrifice a food, which with Yigra's own effect makes your creatures into foods that you can sacrifice for it. But still, that's gonna be an issue, especially since all the food that dies will grow Yigra. So killing Yigra with damage spells is gonna be a tough part because you're gonna have to use a lot of of creatures and food and stuff, and Yigra's gonna just grow, probably outgrow the removal. So yeah, let's go to our food sources. We got 4 copies of each. So all of these cards in here give you food somehow. So Vine Reef Mentor, for example, the 2 mana free 4. No, free 2, my bad. 2 mana free 2. Scroll Druid with when it ETBs or dies, create food token. Gilded Goose is a 1 mana 0/2 bird with flying that when it ETBs, create food. And for 2 mana tap, you can create another tap 2 mana tap, create another food. You can tap sacrifice a food to add 1 mana of any color. Witch's Oven, allowing you for 1 mana. It's a 1 mana artifact that you can tap to sacrifice a creature and create a food token. But if the toughness of the creature was 2 or 4 or greater, create 2 foods instead. So if Yigra was to die to removal somehow, you could sacrifice it to Witch's Oven, and that's 2 foods instead of 1. However, Fine Reap Mentor, I mean, it's just this Witch's Oven was the OG combo with Cauldron Familiar, as it allows you to consistently drain 1 life from your opponent, and it was just a unkillable blocker basically. You know, wasn't infinite, but still was a deadly combo. Years now the new infinite combo. However, you got Scavenger's Talent, a 1 mana enchantment class. Whenever one or more creatures you control die, create food, but only once per turn. At level 2, for 2 mana, whenever you sacrifice a permanent, someone mills 2. And for 3 mana, at level 3, to being a advanced step, you may sacrifice 3 of your non-land permanents to bring back a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. So, Scavenger's Talent allows you to mill based. I mean, first of all, just a just a base Scavenger's Talent is already a good card, as it allows you to get you an extra food every time one of your creatures die once per turn. So with Cauldron Familiar, that also works. Like it's a a blocker that's hard to stop because when you hit the 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 blocker, if you hit the like if you have Cauldron Familiar, block the attacker, you're not taking damage, create food token, and then boom, sacrifice it and bring back. I mean, it's just insane, man. I mean, and the thing with Witches Oven, you can actually get the extra trigger on the opponent's turn. Because on your turn, I mean, what or you can this triggers only once each turn. So you can get one trigger on your turn, then one trigger on the opponent's turn. That's actually really cool. And then when you level it up, that's insane. Because every time you sacrifice a food, someone's or no, not food, anything in general. You even sacrifice a creature with a Witches Oven, you're gonna mill someone for 2. And then at the level 3, it will allow you to sacrifice to as an end step trigger sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. That could be free foods, that could be called from its bring back one of your creatures from your graveyard to battlefield with finality counter. Which could be the Yigra that you've milled, discarded somehow, or you could even and even when you sacrifice a free permanents, that's gonna mill 6. So Scavenger's Talent could actually be a mill win con technically. But that's basically all of our food sources. So that's 4 of each, totaling to 16 cards that can generate food like consistently. I mean, well, Fire Mentor only generates you like 2 foods in token, total, my bad, in total. But still, it's a creature. So qualifies, for the food source section. Let's go to our tutor, and we got Traverse the Ovenwald. 4 of them, a 1 mana sorcery that you can search for basic land, put in your hand, shuffle up. Of course, you have to repeat it. However, if you have Delirium, which is quite possible in this deck, considering you got Disenchantment, Artifact, Creature. Look, 1 Vraska. I mean, lands. I mean, with self mill that you might be able to get Delirium. So when you get Delirium, you can tutor for a creature or a land. Any land. I mean, if you don't want to search for a creature. I mean, if you search for it, because if you don't have Delirium, you have to tutor for a basic. But if you do have Delirium, you can tutor for any creature or any land. Now, here's the fun part. I mean, this would let you find a missing piece to your combo. So if you have like 1 Cauldron Familiar, you could search for Witches Oven. You got like a Yigra, you search for Cauldron Familiar, or you could like second Cauldron Familiars maybe, and yeah, that's just gonna be insane, man. I mean, Traverse the Ovenwald literally like gets you almost anything you need. I mean, it has to be a creature though. I mean, you can't search for Witches Oven. It could be a land. I mean, but it's basically to search for Yigra, to search for Cauldron Familiar, lands you need. I mean, but yeah. Anyways, let's go to our card advantage spells. We got four of each: Deadly Dispute and Cash Grab. Deadly Dispute being a 2 mana instant in which you also have to sacrifice an artifact or a creature to draw 2 cards and create a treasure. So this card is actually played in Pauper as well. I mean, in my Gritz's affinity deck, but basically this card also works in Pioneer. Literally, like it, you literally like you can sacrifice a food to draw two and create treasure, or you could even sacrifice, the Cauldron Familiar to bring it back. Maybe even Vine Reap Mentor, or just some creature that ends up dying due to getting hit by something. And Cash Grab. So you just draw and you draw. So you draw two and ramp as well. You get a treasure that's like that can serve as an extra mana. Cash Grab being a 2 mana instant that allows you to mill 4 and bring back a permanent from the cards you've milled this way into your hand. And if you control Squirrel, or you brought back a Squirrel, create a food token. Now, there's only one Squirrel, that's like 4 of them, which is Vine Reef Mentor. But still, uh, this is the closest thing Standard and Pioneer has to uh, Malevolent Rumbling, because Malevolent Rumbling always creates you an Eldrazi spawn when you cast it. However, Cash Grab, uh, you have to have a Squirrel or bring back a Squirrel to create a food token. It can't be in your graveyard. I mean, it has to be either brought back, from the with the spell, or it has to be on the battlefield. So yeah, this is quite hard to achieve, but still it's not hard considering the deck you actually have a Squirrel. I mean, so yeah, that's why I didn't put Cash Grab in the food source section, because it only generates you like one food token, and it's actually hard to generate the food token with the Cash Grab. So yeah, let's go to a removal. Now, this is a bit controversial, but there is only one removal in the deck. That's like 4 of them. Fatal Push, a 1 mana instant that destroys a creature if its mana value is 2 or less. But for Revolt, it's 4 or less. So y'all already know what Fatal Push is. This is played in so many formats. I think only Legacy does not have Fatal Push. Well, it does. I mean, of course you can play it, but I've not seen Fatal Push in Legacy. And Fatal Push is always consistently being printed as an uncommon. So we didn't get this in Pauper. I don't think we're even gonna get this in Pauper. Like, this is uh just too strong for Pauper, probably. I mean, like, you got, of course, the promo versions which are rare, but in general it's always been an uncommon. Like Double Masters, List, Assassin's Creed also had it as an uncommon. And when it first came out in Ava Revolt, it was an uncommon. And yeah. So yeah, Fatal Push. Thing is, I mean, Fatal Push is like very strong. I mean, it's like, and I don't think this is gonna. I don't think we need this in Pauper. There's like so many different 1 mana removals still in common in Pauper, but Fatal Push is still just better, honestly. I mean, there's like a sorcery speed for it, like similar to Fatal Push, but sorcery speed in Zendikar Rising. I think it was like this Blood Chiefs thingy or something, which is played in Legacy. However, it's not played in like anything else. I mean, that was uncommon. Maybe it could get a downgrade to common. However, today we're talking about Pioneer, not Pauper. So let's just go into our lands. We got dual lands. Now, it's flexible. You got 12 of them in total. I mean, for some reason, bro's playing 3 Overgrown Tombs, 1 Lionel Wastes, and then 4 of the rest. So 4 Blooming Marsh, and then 4 Pathways. But honestly, it's up to you. You gotta have 12 dual lands. So if you have the four overgrown tombs, try four overgrown tombs. Because honestly, I prefer this over Lino Waste any day of the week. I mean, Darkboard Pathway, it's only one side at a time. So after all, you might replace a few of them with Llanowar Wastes, considering Llanowar Waste is always both sides. However, you get pain for it. It's just your decision, really. I mean, I've never been good with like duels or stuff. I mean, dual lands. I mean, the only lands I mainly pay attention to are like the utility lands I play in modern fetch lands, and of course the channel lands. Now you got free Boseijus and one Takenuma, with Boseijus being that main board artifact enchantment destruction that you're gonna need, and Takenuma being that card that lets you fill up the graveyard and just get a creature or planeswalker back. And the thing is, there's only like one legendary creature in the whole deck, which is like Yigra. So this only get like one cost reduction at best. But still, 4 mana to do so is not bad because it doesn't have to be between the free cards of mill. You can just take it from you can take any creature from the graveyard. I mean, it actually just works just fine. That's basically our channel lands. Now we got our other lands. So we got one swamp, one forest, and a Cavern of Souls. Cavern of Souls being that land that counters the control decks. Now, this is probably, I mean, it's Cavern of Souls and the channel lands are probably the only lands worth tutoring for with a Traverse the Overworld. So, if you're to play Traverse the Overworld of Delirium, I mean, you could literally search for those, and you could search for Cavern of Souls, and it's not an issue. I mean, if they don't counter it, I mean, because usually control players have that mentality of don't counter the tutor, counter what comes out of it, and then boom, Cavern of Souls in your face. Control decks, you ain't countering nothing. Boom, and that's just how it goes. I mean the only time they usually counter your tutors is if it's with a force of negation or just straight up negate. But I mean, anyways, we'll be right back with our sideboard. All right, we're back. This is sideboard. So let's talk about our graveyard. So, Leyline of the Void. You got four of those. 4 mana enchantment. But if it's in your opening hand, you get it on the battlefield. I mean, that's literally a thing with every single Leyline. And anything that hits the opponent's graveyard will get exiled. So, yep. One-sided rest in peace that doesn't exile graveyards as it enters. However, if you get it first thing in the game, you're not gonna need that ETB trigger that Rest in Peace has. So yeah, best part is since you're a graveyard deck yourself, you're not gonna want to exile your own graveyard. So Lane Out of the Void is that one-sided graveyard hit every deck needs. So yeah, Leyline of the Void, that's our. We got four of those. Now we got four of another one. Hand removal. Thoughtseize being a 1 mana sorcery that allows you to reveal the opponent's hand or anyone's hand actually, and you can select a non-land from it, so they discard it, and you lose 2 life. So this is like the superior, hand removal. I mean, it's literally something that you first things first you get to see the opponent's hand, and then you get to take something out of it. Like, oh my god, this is just a powerful card. I mean, there's I don't see how, I don't see how you like. Honestly, the only like hand removals that come close are like Inquisition of Kozak and the rest, because the rest, it's a simple card. You don't lose life. It's like the extra Thoughtseize that you may need, and it's the standard slash pauper legal Thoughtseize, because Thoughtseize is just Pioneer and earlier, and it's a rare. It was never common. I mean, Thoughtseize is never gonna get downgraded. I mean, not even to uncommon. I think Thoughtseize is gonna stay in that rare rarity that deserves to be. Maybe maybe even mythic. But well, Inquisition of Kozilek sometimes was uncommon, sometimes it was rare. I mean, it started as an uncommon. I mean, it's literally Inquisition of Kozilek is like on the verge of being like a rare. I mean, it's literally like the closest rare of an uncommon. I don't know. Anyways, last but not least, more removals. Three of each. Abrupt Decay, 2 mana instant that can't be countered, and destroy target non-land permanent with MV free or less. Paw Patch Formation, being a 2 mana instant that allows you to destroy a creature flying, destroy an enchantment, or draw a card and create a food token. This is also another food token, food source that you may need, and a cantrip. However, it also works to as enchantment removal and flying creature removals to stop, Atraxas and other stuff. Abrupt Decay hits the small stuff, and it is any small stuff. I mean, it destroys artifacts, enchantment, like basically anything. Narsets even. So yeah, congratulations. You have reached the end of the podcast. So why don't you like, subscribe, follow, share friends, stay tuned on next videos, streams, and podcasts. Podcasts will be live every Tuesday, 4:30 GMT. So stay tuned to them. Watch my other videos too. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and bye.